Jake worked alone in his small garage every night. The place smelled like old coffee and burned circuits. He had been working on something special for 3 years now, a new kind of battery that could store energy like nothing ever seen before. Big companies were already trying to steal his ideas, but Jake kept pushing forward. His little tech company was in trouble. The bills kept piling up, and his business partner David was getting nervous. Every day brought new threats from some fancy corporation wanting to buy them out for almost nothing. Jake knew his invention could change the world, but he needed more time to perfect it. That Tuesday night started like any other. Jake was hunched over his workbench, surrounded by wires and computer screens. The garage was quiet except for the humming of his machines. He had been working for 14 hours straight, surviving on energy drinks and determination. His eyes were burning, but he was so close to a breakthrough. Around midnight, something strange happened. All the lights in the neighborhood started flickering. Jake looked up from his work, confused. This wasn't a normal power outage. The electricity was dancing in patterns he had never seen before. His own equipment started acting weird too, showing readings that made no sense. Then she walked in. Jake's first thought was that someone had broken into his garage. But this woman didn't look like a thief. She was tall and moved with perfect grace, like she was floating instead of walking. Her clothes looked normal enough, jeans and a simple shirt, but something about her felt different. "Please don't be afraid," she said in perfect English, though her voice had a musical quality that made Jake's heart skip. "I'm not here to harm you." Jake grabbed a wrench from his workbench, his hands shaking. "Who are you? How did you get in here?" "I have security cameras everywhere." The woman smiled gently. "My name is Zara, and your cameras won't show me unless I want them to." She gestured toward his invention on the table. "You're working on energy storage. Very impressive progress for your planet's current technology level." "My planet?" Jake almost laughed, but something in her eyes stopped him. They weren't quite the right color. Too bright, too knowing. "Lady, I don't know what kind of game you're playing, but I'm calling the police." He reached for his phone, but it was completely dead. Not just dead. The screen looked like it had never worked at all. Zara watched him struggle with it for a moment before speaking again. "I know this is frightening, but I need you to listen carefully. Your work, this energy device you're building, it's not just revolutionary for Earth. It's approaching discoveries that my people made a very long time ago." Jake stared at her. Part of his brain was screaming that this was impossible, that he was having some kind of breakdown from working too much. But another part of him, the scientist part, was fascinated. "Your people?" Zara moved closer to his workbench. She didn't touch anything. But somehow Jake's equipment started running better than it ever had before. Numbers on his screens that had been wrong for months suddenly made perfect sense. "I'm what you might call a researcher," she explained. "My world has been watching yours for a long time. We study how different species develop technology. Usually, we just observe from far away. But your work," she paused, looking at his invention with genuine admiration, "your work is special." Over the next hour, Zara explained things that should have been impossible. She told Jake about energy, sources that could power entire cities without pollution. She described transportation that didn't need roads or fuel. She spoke about medicine that could heal injuries in minutes instead of months. But what amazed Jake most was how she talked about his own invention. She understood it better than he did. She could see problems in his design that he hadn't even noticed yet. More importantly, she could see solutions. "Why are you telling me this?" Jake finally asked. "If your people just observe, why are you here talking to me?" Zara was quiet for a long moment. "Because your planet is in trouble, and your invention could help, but also because," she looked down at her hands, "because I wasn't supposed to make contact. I broke the rules by coming here." "What rules?" "My people have laws about interfering with developing worlds. We're supposed to watch and learn, nothing more. But I've been studying humans for 2 years now, and I've become attached to this world, to the way you solve problems, to your determination even when things seem impossible." Jake felt something shift in his chest. The fear was still there, But it was mixed with something else now, curiosity, and maybe something deeper. You've been watching humans for 2 years? Watching you specifically, Zara admitted. Your work patterns, your dedication, your refusal to give up even when that corporation keeps threatening you. I've seen you work 18-hour days just because you believe in what you're doing. The idea should have creeped him out, but somehow it didn't. Instead, Jake felt understood in a way he never had before. So what happens now? Do you just disappear and pretend this never happened? Zara's expression grew serious. That would be the safe thing for both of us. But Jake, there are people who want to steal your work, not just to make money, but to turn it into something dangerous. And there are others among my people who would do anything to stop Earth from advancing too quickly. Others among your people. Not everyone agrees with the non-interference policy. Some think humans are too dangerous to be allowed advanced technology. They would rather see your species stay primitive forever. Jake looked at his invention, then back at Zara. And you disagree? I think humans have something my people lost a long time ago. You have hope. You keep fighting even when everything seems impossible. Your planet may be small, but your spirits are enormous. She paused. That's why I broke the rules to warn you. Because what you're creating isn't just technology, it's hope for a better future. As dawn approached, Zara prepared to leave. She gave Jake a small device that looked like a smooth stone. If you need to contact me, hold this and think my name 3 times. But Jake, you need to be careful. The people trying to steal your work are more dangerous than you know, and my presence here has probably been detected by now. Detected by who? By the people who enforce the rules I just broke. She touched his hand briefly, and Jake felt a warmth that seemed to spread through his whole body. I hope I see you again, Jake. But if I don't, please remember that what you're doing matters, not just for Earth, but for the entire galaxy. After she left, Jake sat in his garage as the sun came up, staring at the stone in his palm. Part of him wondered if he had dreamed the whole thing, but his equipment was still running perfectly, showing readings that proved his invention worked better than he had ever hoped. More importantly, he wasn't alone anymore. Somewhere out there, among the stars, someone believed in him and in what humanity could become. That knowledge filled him with a determination stronger than any he had ever felt. Jake didn't know that his life was about to become more dangerous than he could imagine. He didn't know that powerful forces on both Earth and beyond were already planning to destroy everything he had worked for. All he knew was that he had work to do, and now he had a very good reason to succeed. 3 weeks passed before Jake saw Zara again every night. He would hold the stone she gave him and think her name 3 times, but nothing happened. He started wondering if he had imagined everything. Maybe the stress of working so hard had finally gotten to him, but his invention kept working perfectly. The readings were better than anything he had achieved before that strange night. His business partner David kept asking questions about the sudden breakthrough. Jake, man, what did you do differently? David asked one afternoon, looking at the test results. 3 years we've been stuck on this problem, and suddenly it's working like magic. Jake just shrugged. Sometimes you need to look at things from a different angle. That wasn't exactly a lie, but it wasn't the whole truth either. How could he explain that an alien woman had somehow improved his work just by standing near it? David would think he'd lost his mind. The stone grew warm in Jake's pocket that evening as he worked late in his garage. He pulled it out, and it was glowing with a soft blue light. His heart started racing. Before he could even think her name, Zara appeared in the corner of the room like she had been there all along. You look tired, she said with a gentle smile. Are you sleeping enough? Jake laughed, though he felt nervous and excited at the same time. Hard to sleep when you're not sure if the most amazing thing in your life was real or just a dream. I'm real, Zara said, moving closer. And I'm sorry I stayed away so long. I was trying to figure out how to help you without making things worse. Over the following weeks, Zara visited Jake almost every night. She would appear after midnight when the world was quiet, and they would talk until dawn. She told him about her home world, a planet she called Atharia, where cities floated in the sky and people lived for hundreds of years. We stopped aging the way humans do, she explained one night as they sat on the roof of Jake's garage, looking at the stars. But we also stopped dreaming the way you do. We became so focused on perfection that we forgot how to hope for impossible things. Jake looked at her beautiful face in the moonlight. Is that why you broke the rules to come here? Partly, but mostly because I wanted to understand what makes humans so special. You live such short lives, but you pack so much passion into every day. You love so deeply. Fight so hard for what you believe in. She looked at him with those two bright eyes. I've been studying your species for years, but I never understood until I met you. Their conversations weren't just about science and space. Zara was curious about everything human, the taste of chocolate ice cream, the way music could make people cry, why humans kept pets even though animals couldn't talk back. Jake found himself seeing his own world through her eyes, noticing beautiful things he had taken for granted. On my world, we eat for nutrition only, Zara said one night as Jake made her try pizza for the first time. This has no logical purpose, but it makes me happy. How is that possible? That's the best part about being human, Jake said. Not everything has to make sense, but their secret meetings came with growing dangers. David was getting suspicious about Jake's sudden improvements in the technology. He started staying late at the office, trying to figure out what Jake wasn't telling him. There's something you're not sharing with me, David confronted Jake one morning. We're supposed to be partners, but you're acting like you have some secret source of information. Jake tried to stay calm. I'm just working harder, that's all. Working harder doesn't explain how you solved problems that were impossible last month, Jake. If someone's helping you, I need to know about it. We have investors asking questions. The government contractors are getting interested in our work. If there's something unusual going on, it could be dangerous for both of us. That night, Jake told Zara about David's suspicions. She looked worried for the first time since he'd known her. Your partner is right to be concerned, she said. My people have ways of detecting when their technology is being used. If they discover what I've done, they'll send enforcers to bring me back. Enforcers? Think of them as police officers, but much more serious. Breaking contact protocols isn't just against our law, it's considered treason against our entire civilization. Jake felt a chill run down his spine. What would happen to you? Zara was quiet for a long moment. I would be erased, not just my body, but my memories, my thoughts. Everything that makes me who I am. They would remove me from existence as if I had never been born. That's horrible, Jake whispered. It's meant to be. The punishment is so severe that no one has broken the contact protocol in over 1,000 years. She looked at him with sad eyes. Until me. Why did you risk it? Jake asked, though part of him already knew the answer. Because I'm falling in love with you. Zara said simply. I know it's impossible. I know it breaks every rule of my society and yours. But I can't stop myself. Jake felt his heart stop and start again. I love you too. I've loved you since that first night, even though I barely understood what was happening. They held each other on the roof of his garage as the stars watched overhead. Jake had never felt anything so right and so terrifying at the same time. He was in love with someone from another world, someone whose very existence was supposed to be secret. What do we do now? He asked. I don't know. Zara admitted. In all my studies of human culture, I never found a story quite like ours. But their happiness was already being threatened, unknown to them. Zara's visits had been detected by monitoring systems on her homeworld. Her brother Kellen, a high-ranking officer in their enforcement division, had been assigned to investigate the unauthorized contact dot at the same time. Government agents on Earth had begun noticing unusual energy signatures around Jake's property. The same people who wanted to steal his technology were starting to realize that something much bigger was happening. David's suspicions grew stronger each day. He started following Jake, taking pictures of his garage, even hiring a private investigator to watch for unusual activity. He was convinced that Jake was either working with a foreign government or had made some kind of deal with a competitor. The situation became more complicated when Zara revealed the true purpose of her original mission. I wasn't just studying. Human technology, she told Jake one night. I was part of a team evaluating whether your species is ready for contact with the larger galactic community. Are we ready? Jake asked. Some of you are. People like you, who dream of using technology to help others, who believe in hope even when things seem impossible. But others, she shook her head. Others would use what we could teach you to destroy worlds. So what's the verdict? That's what I was supposed to determine. But I can't make that decision anymore because I'm no longer objective. My feelings for you have compromised the entire mission as their secret relationship deepened. Both Jake and Zara knew they were living on borrowed time. Every night could be their last together. Every kiss might be their final goodbye. Neither of them realized how soon that goodbye might come, or how many people were already working to tear them apart. The love that had grown between them was about to be tested by forces more powerful than either had imagined. But for now, under the stars that connected their two worlds, they held each other and pretended that love might be enough to overcome any obstacle. They were about to learn just how wrong they were. The first real sign of trouble came on a Tuesday morning. Jake arrived at his office to find David waiting with 3 men in dark suits. They looked like they had stepped out of a spy movie, complete with serious expressions and briefcases. Jake, these gentlemen are from a government contractor, David said, but his voice sounded strange. Nervous, they're very interested in our energy storage project. The lead man stepped forward. His name was Colonel Rodriguez, and he had the kind of smile that never reached his eyes. Mr. Jake, we've been monitoring your recent breakthroughs. Very impressive work for such a small operation. Monitoring? Jake felt his stomach drop. What do you mean monitoring? Your energy readings have been unusual lately, Rodriguez continued. We're curious about your research methods. Perhaps you could show us your latest prototypes. Jake looked at David, who wouldn't meet his eyes. David, what's going on here? I had to call them, David said quietly. Jake, you've been acting strange for weeks, working alone, making impossible breakthroughs, refusing to explain how you're doing it. These people think you might be working with foreign agents. Foreign agents? Jake almost laughed. But nothing about this situation was funny. If they only knew how foreign his help really was. Colonel Rodriguez opened his briefcase and pulled out photographs. Jake's heart nearly stopped when he saw them. They were pictures of his garage at night, taken with some kind of special camera that showed energy patterns, and several photos. There were strange light signatures that Jake recognized immediately. These were taken outside your workshop over the past month, Rodriguez said. Can you explain these unusual energy readings? Jake's mind raced. How much did they know? How much did they suspect? I've been experimenting with new power sources. Sometimes there are electromagnetic fluctuations. Electromagnetic fluctuations don't usually form geometric patterns, one of the other agents said, and they don't typically register on our deep space monitoring equipment. Deep space monitoring. Jake felt sweat beading on his forehead. If they had equipment sensitive enough to detect Zara's presence, then other people might know about her too. I think there's been some kind of mistake, Jake said, trying to keep his voice steady. I'm just working on battery technology, nothing that would interest national security. Colonel Rodriguez studied him for a long moment. Perhaps, but we'd like to have our experts examine your work. For everyone's safety, of course. It wasn't really a request. Jake could see David looking guilty and scared in the corner. His business partner had sold him out, probably thinking he was doing the right thing. I need some time to prepare the lab, Jake said finally. Can we schedule this for next week? Actually, we were hoping to take a look this afternoon, Rodriguez replied. No need to prepare anything special. We just want to see your normal setup. Jake knew he couldn't let them into his garage. There were too many things they might find, too many traces of Zara's visits. I'm sorry, but that won't work. Some of my equipment is very sensitive. I need time to shut it down properly. The atmosphere in the room changed instantly. The 3 agents exchanged looks, and Jake realized he had just made a serious mistake. Mr. Jake, Rodriguez said softly, I hope you understand that national security takes priority over personal convenience. We can do this the easy way or the hard way, but we are going to examine your laboratory today." That afternoon, Jake sat in his garage watching strangers paw through his life's work. They had brought their own equipment, devices that beeped and hummed as they scanned every inch of the space. The stone Zara had given him felt like it was burning a hole in his pocket. "Interesting readings over here," one agent called out. He was pointing at the exact spot where Zara usually appeared. "Definitely some kind of exotic energy signature." Colonel Rodriguez came over to look. "What kind of signature?" "Unlike anything in our database. The molecular structure of the air itself has been altered. Whatever caused this, it wasn't made on Earth." Jake's blood turned to ice. They knew. Maybe they didn't understand exactly what they were dealing with, but they knew something impossible was happening in his garage. "We're going to need to set up continuous monitoring," Rodriguez announced. "Round-the-clock surveillance until we figure out what's going on here." "You can't do that," Jake protested. "This is private property, actually. Under the National Security Act, we can do exactly that." Rodriguez smiled his cold smile. "Don't worry, we'll be very discreet." That night, Jake sat alone in his garage, staring at cameras that watched his every move. He wanted to call for Zara, but he didn't dare. If she appeared now, they would both be in terrible danger. But Zara came anyway. She materialized in the corner of the garage where the cameras couldn't see her, moving with the fluid grace that Jake had come to love. But her expression was unlike anything he had seen before. She looked angry and scared at the same time. "We need to leave," she whispered urgently. "Right now." "What's happening?" Jake whispered back, very aware of the microphones that were probably recording everything. "My brother is here. On Earth. He's been sent to bring me back, and he has orders to eliminate any evidence of contact." Her eyes were bright with fear. "That includes you?" Jake felt the world spinning around him. "Eliminate? They don't just want to erase my memories anymore. They've decided that the contamination has gone too far. They're going to remove all traces of my presence here, including anyone who might have been affected by it. But I haven't told anyone anything. It doesn't matter. They detected the energy signatures when I helped improve your invention. As far as they're concerned, you're no longer fully human. You're a hybrid creation that threatens the security of both our worlds." Jake looked around his garage, at the cameras and equipment that had turned his sanctuary into a prison. "Where can we go?" "Nowhere on Earth is safe. My people have technology. That makes your government surveillance look like children's toys." Zara moved closer, staying in the shadows. "But I might be able to get you off-world. I have a ship hidden in the mountains." The idea of leaving Earth terrified Jake almost as much as staying. "Zara, I can't just disappear. I have a life here. My parents, my friends, your parents are already in danger." Zara said quietly, "My brother's team has been watching them for the past 3 days. If I don't return with you eliminated, they'll expand their cleanup operation." Jake felt like he couldn't breathe. His parents were elderly, living quietly in the suburbs. They had no idea that their son's work had put them in mortal danger. "There has to be another way," Jake said desperately. "There is." Zara's voice was hard now, determined. "But it means I can never go home again. It means becoming a rebel against everything I was raised to believe in." "What are you talking about? I can fight them. I have training they don't know about, weapons they don't expect me to use. I can protect you and your family, but it will mean war between me and my own people." Jake stared at her. The gentle, curious woman who had fallen in love with human culture was talking about warfare, like she was born for it. "I won't let you do that," he said. "I won't let you destroy your relationship with your family because of me." "Jake, you don't understand. My relationship with my family was destroyed the moment I chose to love you. There's no going back from that." She took his hands in hers. "The only question now is whether we fight or whether we run." Before Jake could answer, alarms started going off outside. Red lights flashed through the garage windows, and he could hear vehicles approaching fast. "They found me," Zara said grimly. "My brother is here." Through the windows, Jake could see black SUVs surrounding his property. Men in tactical gear were jumping out, carrying weapons he didn't recognize. but mixed in with the human agents were figures that moved differently, with the same impossible grace as Zara. "Is there a back way out of here?" Zara asked. Jake nodded toward a door that led to the alley behind his garage. "Through there, but they've probably surrounded the whole block by now. Then we fight our way out." Zara's appearance began to change. Her clothes shifted into something that looked like armor made of light, and her eyes began to glow with an inner fire. "Stay behind me, and whatever happens, don't let go of my hand." As they moved toward the back door, Jake heard Colonel Rodriguez's voice echoing through a loudspeaker outside. "This is your final warning. Come out with your hands visible, and no one needs to get hurt." Zara laughed, but it wasn't a happy sound. "No one needs to get hurt," she repeated. If only that were true. She opened the back door and stepped into the alley, pulling Jake behind her. The night exploded into chaos as weapons fired beams of light that cut through concrete like butter. Jake found himself in the middle of a battle between forces he barely understood, holding hands with the woman he loved as she fought for both their lives. The quiet love story that had begun under the stars was about to become something much more dangerous. War had come to Earth, and Jake was right in the middle of it.